Destiny is often misunderstood as something written in the stars, something fixed and untouchable. But the story of Joe Ranga teaches us a different truth. Destiny is not found, it is forged. It is shaped by movement, by action, and by the courage to keep going even when the path is unclear. Joe Ranga's journey is not a straight line of success. It is a road filled with uncertainty, resistance, self-doubt, and moments where quitting would have been the easier choice. Yet, what sets him apart is not luck or privilege, but his refusal to stand still. When others waited for the right moment, Joe created it. When fear whispered, "Stop," he chose motion. Every step he took, no matter how small, pushed his destiny forward. He understood that progress does not require perfection, only persistence. Even setbacks became stepping stones, lessons that refined his vision and strengthened his resolve. Where others saw obstacles, Joe saw direction. Joe Ranga reminds us that motion creates momentum, and momentum creates destiny. He didn't wait for confidence to arrive. Confidence grew because he moved. He didn't wait for clarity. Clarity followed his actions. Through discipline, belief, and relentless effort, he transformed ordinary days into extraordinary outcomes. This is why his story matters. It proves that destiny is not reserved for the chosen few. It belongs to those who stay in motion. As long as you move forward, no matter how slow, your destiny is alive. Joe Ranga is not just chasing destiny, he is becoming it, one step at a time. Destiny is often spoken about as if it is something already decided, something waiting quietly at the end of life's journey. Many people believe that if destiny is meant for them, it will arrive on its own. But the truth revealed through Joe Ranga's journey is far more powerful. Destiny does not arrive, you arrive at it through action. Every meaningful outcome in life is the result of choices made and steps taken, not wishes or intentions left unfulfilled. Action is the bridge between who you are today and who you are capable of becoming. Without action, even the strongest dreams remain invisible. Joe Ranga understood that thinking, planning, and dreaming have value only when they are followed by movement. He didn't wait for perfect conditions, complete knowledge, or guaranteed success. He acted with what he had, where he was, trusting that movement itself would shape the future. Each action, no matter how small, carries the power to alter direction. One decision can open doors that were previously unseen. One brave step can break years of hesitation. Joe Ranga's life shows that destiny is not built in dramatic moments alone, but in ordinary choices repeated daily. Waking up and choosing discipline over comfort. Choosing effort over excuses. Choosing responsibility over blame. These choices, stacked over time, become the architecture of destiny. Action also transforms identity. The moment you act, you stop seeing yourself as someone who hopes and start seeing yourself as someone who does. Joe Ranga didn't become confident first and then take action. His confidence grew because he acted. Each step reinforced belief, and belief fueled the next step. This cycle of action and belief is what turns potential into progress. Waiting delays destiny. Fear often disguises itself as patience, making people believe they are being cautious when they are simply avoiding action. Joe Ranga rejected this illusion. He understood that imperfect action is always more powerful than perfect intention. By moving forward consistently, he allowed experience to become his teacher and results to become his guide. Destiny, in this sense, is not a fixed destination but a moving target shaped by effort, courage, and persistence. As long as action continues, destiny continues to evolve. Joe Ranga's story makes one thing clear. When you choose action, you take control of your path, and with every step forward, you actively create the destiny you once thought you had to wait for. Fear thrives in stillness. It grows louder when we hesitate, overthink, and imagine everything that could go wrong. The moment we stop moving, fear fills the space with doubt, excuses, and false warnings. Joe Ranga's journey demonstrates a powerful truth. Fear does not disappear when you wait for it to fade, it weakens when you move despite it. Motion is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to act even while fear is present. Most people believe they must feel fearless before taking action, but Joe Ranga understood the opposite. Fear is a natural response to uncertainty, change, and growth. Instead of fighting fear internally, he confronted it externally through action. Each step forward, no matter how uncomfortable, reduced fear's control. Movement turned fear from a barrier into a signal, proof that he was stepping beyond comfort and into growth. When you move, fear loses its ability to paralyze. Action shifts focus away from imagined outcomes and places attention on what needs to be done right now. Joe Ranga did not allow fear to dictate his decisions. He allowed purpose to override hesitation. By staying in motion, he replaced anxiety with effort and doubt with direction. Fear had no time to dominate because progress demanded attention. Motion also builds emotional strength. Every time Joe Ranga acted in spite of fear, he expanded his tolerance for discomfort. What once felt terrifying gradually became manageable. This did not mean fear vanished completely, but it no longer controlled his choices. With each action, fear's voice grew quieter while confidence grew louder. Fear often promises safety through avoidance, but avoidance only strengthens fear. Joe Ranga refused this false safety. He recognized that the real danger was not failure but remaining stuck. Movement, even when imperfect, created learning, resilience, and momentum. Mistakes became feedback, not threats. By choosing motion, Joe Ranga transformed fear into fuel. Fear became a reminder that something meaningful was at stake. Instead of stopping him, it pushed him forward. His journey proves that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the habit of moving forward while fear watches from the sidelines. Perfection is one of the most convincing traps on the path to growth. It appears responsible, disciplined, and intelligent, yet it quietly delays action and drains momentum. Many people wait until they feel fully ready, fully prepared, or fully confident before they begin. Joe Ranga's journey reveals a different and far more effective principle. Progress, not perfection, is what moves life forward. What matters is not how flawless the step is, but that the step is taken. Joe Ranga did not build his destiny by waiting for ideal conditions. He understood that perfection is an illusion created by fear of judgment and fear of failure. If he had waited until everything was aligned, nothing would have moved. Instead, he focused on making small improvements each day. Those improvements, though imperfect, compounded over time and produced results that perfection seekers never reach. Progress shifts the mindset from outcome to effort. Rather than asking, "Is this perfect?" Joe Ranga asked, "Is this better than yesterday?" This approach removes pressure and replaces it with consistency. One imperfect attempt teaches more than endless planning. Each action, even when flawed, provides feedback, clarity, and experience, things perfection can never deliver on its own. Perfection freezes growth because it demands certainty in an uncertain world. Progress accepts uncertainty and moves anyway. Joe Ranga embraced the reality that mistakes are part of advancement, not evidence of failure. By allowing himself to learn while moving, he turned missteps into adjustments and setbacks into insight. This flexibility kept him adaptable and resilient. Progress also builds confidence in a way perfection never can. Every small win reinforces belief. Every completed step, however modest, proves that movement is possible. Joe Ranga's confidence grew because he saw evidence of improvement, not because he waited to feel ready. Action created belief, and belief encouraged further action. By valuing progress over perfection, Joe Ranga avoided the paralysis that stops so many people from starting. He chose forward motion over flawless execution, understanding that greatness is not built in perfect moments, but in persistent ones. Step by step, imperfectly but consistently, progress carried him where perfection never could. Setbacks often arrive disguised as failure, disappointment, or loss. For many, they become reasons to stop, retreat, or doubt their worth. But Joe Ranga's journey reveals a deeper truth. Setbacks are not signs that you are going the wrong way, they are signs that you are moving. Every meaningful path includes resistance, and every ambitious pursuit invites challenges that test commitment and character. Joe Ranga did not view setbacks as personal judgments or final outcomes. Instead, he treated them as information. When something didn't work, he didn't ask, "Why am I failing?" He asked, "What is this teaching me?" This shift in perspective turned obstacles into guides. Each setback pointed him toward refinement, adjustment, and stronger strategy rather than surrender. Setbacks slow you down, but they also sharpen awareness. They expose weaknesses that comfort hides and reveal gaps that success often overlooks. Joe Ranga understood that without difficulty, growth remains shallow. Challenges forced him to build resilience, develop patience, and strengthen discipline. What seemed like a delay became preparation for greater responsibility and larger outcomes. Failure only becomes defeat when it stops movement. Joe Ranga refused to let setbacks define his direction. He recognized that stopping entirely would give setbacks power, but continuing forward transformed them into stepping stones. Each recovery built emotional strength and mental endurance, proving that resilience is not about avoiding failure but about responding to it. Setbacks also clarify purpose. When the journey becomes difficult, only what truly matters survives. Joe Ranga used hard moments to reconnect with his reasons for starting. This clarity deepened commitment and removed distractions. The struggle filtered out ego and strengthened intent, aligning effort with long-term vision. By seeing setbacks as direction rather than defeat, Joe Ranga stayed adaptable and focused. He allowed resistance to refine him instead of break him. Every challenge became a course correction, guiding him toward wiser decisions, stronger foundations, and a clearer path forward. Confidence is often misunderstood as something you must possess before taking action. Many people believe that once they feel confident, they will finally begin. Joe Ranga's journey challenges this belief and reveals a more practical truth. Confidence is built through momentum. It is not the starting point of progress, but the result of consistent movement forward. Joe Ranga did not wait to feel ready or fearless before acting. In the early stages, uncertainty was constant and self-doubt was present. What separated him from others was not an absence of doubt, but a refusal to stop because of it. Each action, however small, created movement, and that movement generated momentum. With momentum came proof that effort leads somewhere, that progress is possible, and that growth is within reach. Momentum changes how the mind works. When you take repeated action, your focus shifts from questioning yourself to executing tasks. Joe Ranga experienced this shift firsthand. Instead of asking whether he was capable, he concentrated on what needed to be done next. This forward focus reduced overthinking and replaced hesitation with engagement. Action left no space for doubt to dominate. Confidence grows when you witness yourself showing up consistently. Every completed task reinforces belief. Every challenge faced and survived strengthens self-trust. Joe Ranga's confidence was not built in moments of comfort, but in moments where he pushed forward despite uncertainty. Momentum created a chain reaction. Action led to progress, progress led to belief, and belief encouraged more action. Momentum also protects against fear and discouragement. When you are moving, setbacks feel temporary rather than permanent. Joe Ranga understood that stopping would magnify doubt, while continuing forward would keep confidence alive. Even slow momentum was better than none, because it maintained connection to purpose and direction. Through steady movement, Joe Ranga transformed uncertainty into self-belief. His confidence was not borrowed from external validation but earned through effort and consistency. Momentum became the foundation upon which belief was built, proving that confidence is not something you wait for, it is something you create by continuing to move forward. Discipline is often mistaken for restriction, but in reality, it is the greatest form of freedom. It frees you from inconsistency, excuses, and emotional decision-making. Joe Ranga's journey shows that destiny is not powered by motivation alone, because motivation rises and falls. What fuels destiny over the long term is discipline, the ability to act with commitment even when enthusiasm is low and results are not immediate. Joe Ranga did not rely on fleeting bursts of inspiration. He built systems, routines, and habits that carried him forward on days when motivation was absent. Discipline allowed him to show up repeatedly, regardless of mood or circumstances. This consistency created reliability, and reliability built progress. While others waited to feel inspired, Joe moved forward through structure and self-control. Discipline transforms effort into identity. When you commit to disciplined action, you no longer ask whether you will do the work, you simply do it. Joe Ranga understood that disciplined habits reduce inner conflict. Decisions are made once and followed daily, conserving mental energy and strengthening focus. Over time, discipline became automatic, turning hard choices into natural behavior. Through discipline, small actions gain power. Daily practice, continuous learning, and repeated effort compounded into meaningful results. Joe Ranga trusted this process even when progress was invisible. Discipline taught patience, reminding him that destiny is shaped quietly, long before it is seen publicly. What looks like sudden success is often years of disciplined effort beneath the surface. Discipline also builds self-respect. Each time Joe Ranga kept a promise to himself, his belief in his own word strengthened. This internal trust became more valuable than external approval. Discipline created confidence rooted in integrity, not validation. By choosing discipline, Joe Ranga ensured that his progress did not depend on circumstances. Regardless of challenges, emotions, or external noise, disciplined action kept his destiny in motion, day after day, step by step. Many people wait for clarity before they take action. They want a complete plan, guaranteed outcomes, and absolute certainty before committing to a path. Joe Ranga's journey reveals a powerful reversal of this mindset. Clarity does not come first, commitment does. It is only after choosing a direction and moving forward that understanding begins to unfold. Joe Ranga did not start his journey with all the answers. Like most people, he faced uncertainty, unanswered questions, and unclear outcomes. Instead of waiting for perfect understanding, he committed to moving forward with intention. That commitment created experience, and experience produced clarity. Each step taken revealed the next, making the path visible only through motion. Commitment eliminates hesitation. When a decision is fully made, the mind stops wandering between options and begins focusing on execution. Joe Ranga experienced this shift as commitment narrowed his attention and strengthened discipline. Rather than constantly questioning direction, he concentrated on progress. This focus reduced confusion and replaced it with purpose-driven action. Clarity grows through exposure. Real-world action reveals strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities that planning alone cannot. Joe Ranga learned what worked and what didn't by doing, not by waiting. Mistakes became information and challenges became guidance. With every commitment honored, his vision sharpened and his decisions became more confident. Waiting for clarity often disguises fear of responsibility. Joe Ranga recognized that responsibility begins the moment you commit. By accepting ownership of his choices, he gained control over his growth. Commitment forced him to adapt, learn, and refine direction rather than remain stuck in uncertainty. Through commitment, confusion transformed into understanding. The journey itself became the teacher. Joe Ranga's experience proves that clarity is not a prerequisite for action. It is the reward for those who commit and continue moving forward. The greatest difference between those who reach their potential and those who don't is not talent, intelligence, or opportunity, it is persistence. Many people start with passion, but only a few continue when the excitement fades and the journey becomes demanding. Joe Ranga's story highlights a simple yet powerful truth. Destiny ultimately belongs to those who refuse to stop, no matter how slow the progress or how heavy the resistance. Stopping rarely happens all at once. It often begins with hesitation, followed by excuses and then silence. Joe Ranga understood this pattern and chose to interrupt it with consistency. Even when results were delayed and recognition was absent, he kept moving. He didn't allow temporary disappointment to become permanent retreat. Persistence became his defining strength. Refusing to stop does not mean moving at full speed at all times. It means maintaining connection to the journey. Joe Ranga accepted that some days required slow progress, reflection, or rebuilding. What mattered was continuity. By staying engaged, he preserved momentum and kept his purpose alive, even during difficult seasons. Persistence builds endurance. Each time Joe Ranga chose to continue despite fatigue or frustration, he strengthened his capacity to handle pressure. What once felt overwhelming gradually became manageable. This endurance allowed him to face larger challenges with greater stability and confidence. The decision to continue also protects belief. When people stop, doubt fills the gap. By refusing to stop, Joe Ranga kept belief active. Movement reinforced faith in the process, reminding him that progress is not always visible, but it is always happening beneath the surface. Through persistence, destiny remains within reach. Each step forward, however small, keeps the future alive and evolving. Joe Ranga's journey shows that as long as effort continues, the story is still being written, and destiny remains in motion. Who you become is not decided by a single breakthrough moment, but by the choices you repeat every day. Identity is not something you discover suddenly, it is something you build gradually through consistent behavior. Joe Ranga's journey reflects this truth clearly. His growth was not driven by who he wished to be, but by what he chose to do again and again, even when no one was watching. Every choice reinforces a version of yourself. When Joe Ranga chose discipline over comfort, effort over excuses, and responsibility over blame, he was not just making decisions, he was shaping identity. Over time, these repeated actions formed habits, and those habits defined character. He became reliable because he consistently showed up. He became resilient because he repeatedly faced difficulty instead of avoiding it. Many people try to change their lives by changing goals, but Joe Ranga focused on changing behavior. He understood that goals can shift, but identity sustains progress. By acting like the person he wanted to become before fully feeling like that person, he closed the gap between intention and reality. Action led identity, not the other way around. Repeated choices also silence self-doubt. When actions align with values over time, inner trust grows. Joe Ranga did not need constant motivation because his identity carried him forward. He no longer questioned whether he was capable. His history of consistent effort answered that question for him. Identity built through repetition is strong because it is earned. It is not dependent on external validation or temporary success. Joe Ranga's sense of self came from knowing he could rely on his own commitment. Each choice reinforced the next, creating a stable foundation that supported growth under pressure. By understanding that identity is shaped through repetition, Joe Ranga focused on what he could control daily. These small, deliberate choices quietly defined who he was becoming, strengthening his path and reinforcing his destiny with every action taken. A vision without action is like a blueprint left in a drawer. It has potential but produces nothing. Joe Ranga's journey teaches us that vision is not static. It grows clearer, stronger, and more compelling through consistent effort. The act of doing, of moving toward a goal, is what transforms abstract ideas into tangible direction. Joe Ranga understood that having a vision is only the beginning. Many people spend years imagining what they want without ever taking meaningful steps. In contrast, he treated vision as a living guide that evolves with each action. Every project undertaken, every challenge faced, and every decision made tested and refined his vision, making it more precise and actionable over time. Action also provides feedback. When Joe Ranga pursued his vision, he discovered what worked, what didn't, and what needed adjustment. This iterative process sharpened his understanding and allowed him to adapt strategies without losing sight of the ultimate goal. Vision became stronger because it was informed by real-world experience rather than theory alone. Moreover, taking action transforms belief into conviction. Every completed task, every milestone reached, reinforced that the vision was achievable. Joe Ranga's confidence in his path did not grow from wishful thinking, but from repeated evidence that effort produces results. Action built trust in himself and in the process, turning abstract ambition into grounded determination. Action also inspires others, amplifying the power of vision. When people witness commitment, momentum, and progress, they are drawn to it, creating networks of support and opportunity that accelerate growth. Joe Ranga leveraged this dynamic, allowing his vision to gain influence and impact far beyond his individual efforts. By engaging actively with his vision, Joe Ranga demonstrated that clarity, purpose, and influence do not come passively. They are cultivated through persistence, experimentation, and the courage to take action in the face of uncertainty. In this way, vision is strengthened, expanded, and made unstoppable. Obstacles are an inevitable part of any meaningful journey. They test resolve, challenge beliefs, and often feel like walls too high to climb. Yet Joe Ranga's journey illustrates a transformative truth. Persistence converts obstacles from barriers into gateways. What appears as a problem can become the very mechanism that propels growth when met with consistent effort and determination. Joe Ranga did not shy away from difficulties or hope they would disappear on their own. Instead, he approached each challenge as a lesson, asking how it could be leveraged to his advantage. Every obstacle revealed gaps in knowledge, limitations in strategy, or areas for personal growth. By facing these head-on and refusing to quit, he turned potential setbacks into stepping stones. Persistence also develops creativity. When progress is blocked, repeated effort forces innovation. Joe Ranga learned to find alternative paths, adapt strategies, and experiment with new approaches. Obstacles became prompts for problem-solving rather than excuses for surrender. This mindset allowed him to turn situations others avoided into opportunities for differentiation and advantage. The act of persistence strengthens resilience. Each time Joe Ranga faced difficulty and continued forward, he built mental toughness. Challenges no longer intimidated him because he had accumulated evidence that continued effort yields results. Persistence reshaped his relationship with obstacles. They became markers of progress rather than signs of failure. Additionally, persistence creates momentum through adversity. Even when results were delayed or minimal, continual action compounded small victories into meaningful change. Joe Ranga's consistent approach ensured that obstacles did not halt him but instead accelerated his learning and refined his approach. By embracing persistence, Joe Ranga transformed every obstacle into a platform for growth, learning, and progress, proving that challenges are not roadblocks. They are opportunities disguised as resistance. Courage is rarely a sudden surge of bravery that appears out of nowhere. It is cultivated over time through repeated action in the face of fear and uncertainty. Joe Ranga's journey demonstrates that courage is not a fixed trait. It is a muscle that grows stronger each time it is exercised. The more he acted despite doubts, the more natural courage became in his life. Many people wait to feel courageous before taking risks or pursuing ambitious goals, but Joe Ranga understood that courage is born through doing, not feeling. Each step forward, no matter how small or imperfect, challenged fear and reinforced the ability to move despite it. By choosing action over hesitation repeatedly, he rewired his mindset, teaching himself that fear is a signal to act rather than a reason to stop. Action also provides evidence of capability. Joe Ranga learned that bravery is not the absence of fear, it is taking action while fear exists. Every challenge he faced and every risk he embraced added proof to his confidence, strengthening his belief in himself. This cumulative experience made subsequent risks easier, creating a compounding effect of courage over time. Courage grows not only from success but also from facing potential failure. Joe Ranga did not avoid difficult situations because of the possibility of setbacks. Instead, he viewed them as opportunities to prove resilience and expand his boundaries. Each encounter with adversity built his capacity to handle the unknown, making courage habitual rather than exceptional. Moreover, acting with courage inspires confidence in others. Joe Ranga's willingness to take bold steps motivated those around him, demonstrating that bravery is contagious when visible in action. His courage became a guiding force not just for himself but for teams, collaborators, and followers. Through deliberate, repeated action, Joe Ranga cultivated courage as a practical skill, a mindset, and a way of life, showing that bravery is earned through persistence, effort, and the willingness to move forward despite uncertainty. Change is one of the few constants in life, yet most people resist it, clinging to familiarity and comfort. Joe Ranga's journey reveals that adaptability is not just about surviving change, it is about transforming it into a powerful advantage. By learning to pivot, adjust, and embrace uncertainty, he turned shifting circumstances into opportunities for growth and progress. Joe Ranga understood that rigidity limits potential. Sticking to old methods or refusing to alter plans in the face of new information leads to stagnation. Instead, he approached change with curiosity and flexibility. Each unexpected challenge or disruption became a test of his ability to innovate, re-strategize, and respond effectively. Adaptability allowed him to navigate uncertainty without losing momentum or purpose. Adaptability also enhances problem-solving. When plans falter, new solutions must emerge. Joe Ranga used changing conditions as a chance to explore alternative paths, experiment with new ideas, and refine his approach. Challenges became opportunities for creativity rather than threats, strengthening both his strategic thinking and his confidence in facing the unknown. Furthermore, adaptability builds resilience. By embracing change rather than resisting it, Joe Ranga reduced the emotional weight of uncertainty. Shifts that might have caused fear or frustration were transformed into learning experiences. Every adjustment he made reinforced the understanding that setbacks are temporary and flexibility is essential to long-term success. Adaptability also encourages growth through perspective. Change exposes blind spots, reveals hidden potential, and forces reassessment of priorities. Joe Ranga used these moments to expand his vision, refine his strategies, and enhance his skills. By responding actively to evolving circumstances, he continuously strengthened his capacity to achieve goals that once seemed out of reach. Through adaptability, Joe Ranga demonstrated that change is not an obstacle to be feared but a dynamic force that, when embraced, becomes a source of strength, innovation, and competitive advantage. Consistency is often underestimated because it appears mundane and unremarkable compared to bold or dramatic actions. Yet Joe Ranga's journey demonstrates that sustained, repeated effort is what transforms small actions into extraordinary results. Success is rarely the product of a single event, it is the cumulative outcome of consistent effort applied over time. Joe Ranga did not rely on sporadic bursts of energy or inspiration. He committed to showing up every day, performing the necessary tasks even when they felt repetitive or unexciting. This daily consistency created compounding effects. Each small action reinforced the next, gradually building momentum, skill, and influence. The results of these efforts, though invisible in the short term, grew exponentially with time. Consistency also strengthens discipline and self-trust. By adhering to a routine or standard of performance, Joe Ranga trained his mind and body to operate reliably, even under pressure. Every completed task, no matter how small, served as proof of his capability, reinforcing belief in himself and in the process. Over time, this reliability became a cornerstone of his success. Furthermore, consistency amplifies credibility and influence. When people observe commitment over time, trust is built, and leadership emerges naturally. Joe Ranga's consistent efforts attracted support, opportunities, and collaboration because others recognized his dedication and reliability. Actions repeated faithfully communicate integrity far louder than words ever could. Consistency also allows for mastery. Skill, knowledge, and expertise are developed through repetitive practice, reflection, and refinement. Joe Ranga understood that extraordinary outcomes are not instantaneous but result from continuous learning and application. Each day's effort contributed incrementally to a larger vision, creating a trajectory that grew stronger with persistence. Through unwavering consistency, Joe Ranga multiplied the impact of every effort, demonstrating that the secret to lasting success lies not in sporadic brilliance, but in steady, disciplined, and reliable action applied over time. Joe Ranga's journey teaches us that destiny is not a distant promise or a fixed destination. It is created, shaped, and realized through action, courage, and unwavering commitment. Each step, each choice, and each lesson builds momentum, turning dreams into achievements and obstacles into opportunities. The essence of his story is simple yet profound. Your destiny moves forward when you move forward. Fear, setbacks, uncertainty, and doubt are not barriers. They are signals guiding you to act with purpose and persistence. Momentum, focus, discipline, and adaptability transform ordinary effort into extraordinary results, while gratitude, vision, and impact ensure that your journey resonates beyond yourself. Ultimately, the path to destiny is continuous. It is shaped by those who refuse to stop, who embrace challenges as teachers, and who choose action over hesitation. Joe Ranga exemplifies that every day offers a chance to forge the life you envision, to strengthen character, and to leave a meaningful legacy. Your destiny is not waiting for you, it is in motion. Step forward, take action, and become the architect of your own extraordinary journey.